So it's been 3 weeks since we've played. I think, yeah, quite a long.
That doesn't
long
sound
time.
right.
Well,
2 weeks.
I was off for 2 weeks. So
Yeah,
this
and then we played one.
This campaign. So you guys had a one shot.
No, I think we played. I think it's just
Yeah,
last
no,
week.
we had one, didn't we? Where we left West. Oh wait, shit. Wasn't before the one shot, was it?
No,
Yeah,
that
just
week,
before.
because we didn't do last week, but we did the week before.
We didn't do the week before, did we?
I
Yeah.
swear we did.
When we were
Perhaps we did.
deciding whether or not to go
It's
to.
been, look, either way, it's been too long.
It's been a
My
while
head's
since we
puzzled.
sat down and did a couple of weeks together.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we can get back on track with that. So I'll do a roundup today. So basically the ins and outs as straightforward as I can put it to you. Last time you guys finalised giving up the information that you was happy to permit to the Council of Western regarding your findings of the beneath what was occurring beneath Western and the individuals that you've come across leading back to this way. You gave the smaller information leading up and found that some of the members of the council were a bit taken back by the actual amount of power that was within the sword that has been now destroyed and banished in the easiest way to describe what occurred as the ritual to remove the curse from the sword occurred, and it shattered into thousands of itty-bitty shards and went from there. I can't recall who got hit by the shards.
I think it was me and Lana.
Okay. So after that, you continued to attempt to lock out the crawling king from your dream state, your mind, and seemingly being successful. It appeared to work. You was happy that it did its job, although it did take its toll on your physical forms. You was then urged to make haste in your journey to try and find these locations you believe corporates to be heading to release a beast that can free the crawling king from his true prison, and was issued some horses on loan along with some instructions, and you was issued some spells or shown to how to use some spells by Zephyr, I think it was Zephyr, Zeppelin, Zephyr. I can't remember what I bloody named it now. Hang on a sec.
It was Zeppelin.
Yep. So you and Godplaner and Zeppelin kind of with very close guidance was shown the scrying spell and the message spell in order to communicate with people who she was familiar with, hopefully Zeppelin, back and forth. There was the idea to go back to the hermit's potential residence of Zeppelin's great-grandfather and try and find perhaps some clues to where these locations, where this prison dungeon would most likely be. And with that, you packed your horses, or you was in the midst of packing your horses. So readying your horses in the chill of the dark night, you began to saddle up and ready yourself to begin your travel after picking your horses Please, can you each make your animal handling check, please?
Sorry, gotta restart roll 20.
Okay, no worries. While we're waiting for that, Clarence, you find it a little more trickier to mount onto this large beast, much larger than you, given your size. The horse isn't quite sure how to react. It's kind of giving you a bit of resistance, not kicking you off, but most certainly doesn't like being instructed by you. Goplana, you approach your horse once the stable's hands have helped saddle up the horse. You approach your horse and go to grab the reins to ease yourself onto the horse itself. And as you reach for the rein, the horse steps forward. And it's much like that. Every time you grab, the horse takes a few steps forward, and for a good sort of 6 foot, you're having this transition where you're reaching out to grab it, and the horse is moving out of the way, and you're kind of now, instead of like riding the horse is kind of leading you, and it goes that way for a little while. But as you begin to move away from the entrance, you hear a voice from behind. And as you look, Herrick stands there. If your road takes you to Stilburn, stay wary. The road is hard to follow in places. If you follow the route, it will force you through the Shade Barrow. Those that pass into this place, they never return alive, and those that do are not entirely dead either. The Shade Barrow is said to be home to a monolithic henge used as a ritual site for Ephanic druids, known as the Dawn Circle, before the Iron Rule of Dressig. Once owned by a Westronian baron named Seville Halfes, who had an obsession with its histories and its treasures. Also, the names to the dream merchants. They were known as Neeks and Viral. Be careful. This place is not safe, but you must be safe in your travels. May your armor be strong and your attacks be stronger. And he kind of beats his chest and almost gives like a salute to you as you are ready on your horses.
Right. So, a couple of things. If the horse doesn't like Clarence, he can ride Kegger. But just to clarify, are we trying to find this Smythe? Wait, I've got his name. Where is it? Lewin Smythe, who apparently knows. That's the grandfather of Zeppelin Smythe.
Yeah, you've already had an agreement that I think you guys had decided to get onto the road and go where you guys needed to do. I think there was an agreement with Zeppelin that she would go and investigate with a team of shield
Gotcha.
guards to see if there was
Okay.
any clues, and in order to communicate with you guys if anything did pop up, hence the reason for the message spell being taught.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. I didn't know if we were going to try and visit him on the way out of the Bramblewood. Okay. Right. How long is the journey roughly?
Give or take, it's about 2 weeks travel to Stillborn, or it's 2 weeks travel to Whitestone.
Stillborn it is, I think.
Okay.
Yes, Stillborn.
Wonderful.
Right. Sam, are you ready to meet your brother again?
No, not really.
Oh, that's not the response I was hoping for.
Yeah. It's a bit scarier than I remember.
Yeah. Well, at least I have a couple of words for him. So.
Yep.
And you never know. Obviously, we've quote unquote met before in the dreams. I'm just wondering if Macleth has had the same situation. It seems to be hit and miss. Lana hasn't had these dreams, but you never know. Macleth might. That might make it a bit easier to negotiate with him.
Yes, perhaps. We can only hope.
Can only hope.
Okay. So the road to Stillborn it is, and as you continue, reaching the outskirts of Western, Jirak, can you roll me a perception check, please?
Oh, good boss. I've got a 1 or a 2. How's that do you?
Okay. So you each of you see in the distance, remembering that it is dark, but you see the faint glow of torches as a patrol of shield guard a little ways ahead. They begin to rush into a formation, and one shouts, "Here they come! Ready yourselves!" And you see them facing the tree line of what would be the outskirts of Bramblewood. As you see a pack of hounds run out of the tree line. You can go ahead and roll me another perception check, Jirak.
Are these, when you say hounds, is this like wild dogs or
Yeah,
like hunting?
I mean, it's hard to tell from your distance. You can just see like dog-like shapes, like
Okay.
small, like snouts, pokey
Four legs,
ears,
yeah.
and a tail and 4 legs. Yeah, but you can kind of hear like the growls, like the bark yaps that you would normally associate with a hound-like beast.
Okay. Well, I've rolled a 1, 2, a 3, and a 4.
That's all right. There's different stages to this, so it's okay.
Okay, good.
The first one you've missed a few things, but you kind of have an idea. But there's some detail missing. That's fine.
Either way, I'm going to request to the group that we speed up and try help the shield guard out.
Okay. So, I mean, they're a lot closer to these hounds than you are to them. They're a little ways off. You can see them much further in the distance than you're probably able to reach in a round. But as you do, and you head that way, you see one of the individuals, the one that shouted, he's kind of centered himself, while the others kind of like scurry into like this weird like formation. There's like 1 at the front, 2 at the sides, 3 at the back, and 1 in the center of this like triangular formation. And you as you get closer, you see this centered individual reach into a pouch into the side of his bag, and he pulls something out, and in a bizarre fashion begins to throw this dust as far as you can see, given the light and the way it kind of glows in the torchlight. This dust kind of darkens the area around him, and he raises a flaming arrow to his bow. Go ahead and roll me another perception check, please. As you're a little bit closer, I will give you advantage because you're paying more and more attention the closer you're getting.
That's more like it.
Much better. As he raises this flaming bow, you can hear him speak. The words that come out of his mouth: Gujug, Liga, and the bow is pulled back, and as he releases it, it begins to glow. The arrow speeding towards the intended target, the arrow grows to almost twice its size, and this almost spear-like arrowhead now pierces through one of the hounds, barraging it into another hound, which catches fire and begins to yelp aloud. The other hounds look around and like skid into the dirt, bark, and they bite at each other in hesitation and begin to run in another direction. The other guards release their regular arrows into these retreating beasts, and the guards give chase into the dark. The one leading the attack drops the pouch that he reached into onto the floor with some surrounding bows, and runs into the tree line of this darkness. You get there just as they begin to leave that space.
Holy shit! What was that? I asked the group.
Oof. Whatever it is, I think they know what they're doing.
By the looks of it, yeah. I need to find a way to make my spear just twice as big on command. Pretend I didn't say it like that, but you know, that'd be handy. Do we recognise what kind of magic that was? I'm guessing no, but worth an ask.
From where you are, it when he said the words good jug liga, it felt really familiar, and it almost sounded like orcish in its nature.
Do I know what those words mean in common?
As you
know what I mean.
As you repeat them,
translation.
Go ahead and roll me a history check. Yeah, sure. Okay. You know that it means bigger, larger. That's the most crude way of that translation. Obviously, in its actual terms, it's much more elaborate than that. But as far as common can translate it, that's the best words that would describe the translation of that. But the pouch that he reached into, he dropped to the floor as he ran into the darkness.
I want to go over and have a look, see if there's any more of that dust stuff in there.
So you go over to the pouch on the floor.
I'm not going to condone theft, but I'd like to know what they're dealing with. That way, maybe we can.
Sure. If you're going, are you just picking up the pouch, or are you looking into the pouch?
I'm just sort of gonna grab maybe a handful of the powder.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll me a. Let's go Arcana.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah, you're familiar with what this. As you reach into this pouch, you're looking into it, and you kind of see this like mound of silvery kind of flecks, like powder. And as you reach into it and you crumble it between your index finger and your thumb, and let it pass through your fingers, you give it a bit of a sniff. It's iron. It's a pouch of iron powder.
Oh. What's
Now-
so magical about iron powder?
Out of game, I believe that's the component for casting enlarge, but I haven't heard of someone casting it on on their arrow as they fire it before. And if that's something I can do, I would definitely like to try and do it.
Are you trying to do it?
I mean, I'll pick it up and I'll crumble it between my fingers and I'll say my words. Yeah, give my own go.
So you're with what you could perceive at the time. Go ahead and try and recur what's occurring. So you explain to me how you're doing this. In other words,
I'm gonna, because obviously this using spell components and saying the magic words is a very arcane way of doing things, like wizards and sorcerers and all that sort of thing. So I'm gonna try and being based on nature, take these components and then really pick up like a leaf off the ground, or a rock or something, and then say the magic words, but try and channel the nature aspect of. Obviously, my spellcasting is closer to a druid than a wizard, so try and channel that to cast it. And again, just say the magic words. I'm not the best at casting spells, so Jarek isn't massively hopeful, but it's worth a go.
you can roll me a performance.
Oh boy. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
Could it be something with my spellcasting ability modifier instead?
Not for this attempt, unfortunately.
Okay.
So you reach into this pouch and you kind of try to do your interpretation of what you witnessed with your own sort of naturistic kind of approach. And as you throw up this stone that you just randomly grabbed to attempt this spell on, you throw it up and you say the words, but you say it too slow and the stone falls straight onto the toes of your boot.
I tried.
You can take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
How big was that fucking rock?
It's like a bit of Lego. It's not the size.
All right, yeah. It got me right between the toes. Gotcha.
But nonetheless, you have. I mean, you then are not really a defeatist, so you kind of you get back onto your horse and you continue your travels. And during your travels, you're kind of replaying that same sort of minute and a half that you witnessed with the shield guard and that centered leader of the guards in that moment, and you replay it and you replay it, and as you do so, you kind of are fiddling around with smaller pebbles, flicking them through and playing with the dust in between the two hands as you're riding along at a gentle pace given the time of day. And I would say, or I would like to say, Jirek, that you have now reached your milestone and you are able to cast Enlarge Reduce.
Hell yeah. I shall put that on the list of spells known.
And it does state that it's any creature or object.
Something tells me what I might not be needing this horse sometime. Well, for very much longer. I eye Kegger with a grin on my face.
Enlarge me.
Well, so that your weapon's correctly sized.
Make me human.
I cast enlarge on him, and he turns into a 45-year-old man.
With diabetes.
Yeah. All of a sudden, like, all the time catches up with him. All the sweets catch up with him.
Okay. So, you was lucky with that last roll, because if you'd missed that, I would just been like, right, well, that didn't happen. Okay, so you continue your travel via road, picking up pace. You are travelling through the latter part of the day, later part of the night, which does slowly get you to the point of sunrise as you kind of bellow over some of the hills that begin to start rolling, and the open green fields of the surrounding areas of Western.
So we travelled through the night, did you say?
Yeah, so it was past sort of that time in the evening for you anyway. So getting ready for the horses and saddling and catching up with the council and being given these tasks, you kind of slipped past the 12 o'clock sort of barrier, and you kind of slipped into the 1-2 o'clock in the morning kind of time. So as you begin to travel, you kind of worked through and made pace, but it's still sunrise, so you could, if you wanted to, you could rest up and have a couple of hours before you continue on your journey, or you can continue through.
I think it's probably a good idea if we rest, because we could very well get into a fight and then we're running on, no spells, layers of exhaustion, etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we rest, I would like to do some more training with Eben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go for another common heal.
Okay. So mark that off again on your sheet. How many have you done now of that?
This will be the 4th.
Okay, good to know. Interesting.
Did she know attack yet?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I think actually, looking back, yeah, probably a good idea. He's a bit small.
Okay. So, anyone else wish to do anything while they rest, before they rest, or?
So Lana, you learned scrying, right?
I did, yes.
Is there any way that you could scry on my dad for me? Or my mum. Not picky.
Scry. It'll be hard because I don't know what I'm looking for.
Looks like me, but like he's blind in one eye. He's not.
Right.
He's not as jacked.
Toss, yeah. DM. Scrying's a level 5 spell.
Jesus.
I have access to it, obviously, but I don't. Can I use it?
Sorry, which level? Which level is it?
It's a level 5 spell, so I won't be able to use it for a while.
Okay. When do you get level 5 spells?
Oh god, hang on.
It's level 9 or something, isn't it?
I have thought about this, but I can't remember when you actually get.
Hang on, let me just look up the D&D Beyond. See. Level 5 spells is I get one at level 9.
Okay, no, that's fine. You can, because you've been given the guidance, but it's not as strong, and it's not always it doesn't always work, if that makes sense, because of the amount of energy that it would cause to cast. It lasts only half of the fraction that a scrying spell you would usually, and you would have to do a Arcana check with a DC 14 or above to succeed.
What's worse that can happen?
And that's if, obviously, you manage to pull off some sort of resemblance of what Jirak is requesting.
I do a very crude drawing of my dad on the floor.
I'll definitely give it a go. And I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Exactly. It's not going to backfire and electrocute you, I hope.
Have we got something that's worth at least 1,000 gold pieces? I need that, right?
Oh yeah, if it's value, you would have to use it as
Oh, if it's... I didn't know Scrying was something you had to spend
yeah, a
money
focus. I need a focus.
on. Right. Maybe we'll put off on that for the time being then. I don't think we collectively between... Actually, no, Summer owns something worth 1,000 gold. But
I could use it as a focus. Because it doesn't get used up, does it?
unless it says it's consumed, I don't think so.
No.
anything with a value is consumed.
Oh.
That's why they give it a mandatory term.
No, it usually says which the spell consumes in the description, because otherwise, Chromatic Orb, the level 1 spell, costs 50 gold per use, which sucks.
I always went under it that if it had a monetary value, that's why it told you it was 50 gold coin or 100 gold coin.
It says, if it says a monetary value, then you have to have that item specifically. But if it says, like, for example, the difference between Revivify and Chromatic Orb, to use my previous example, Chromatic Orb needs, I think it's a 50 gold diamond, and then Revivify needs 300 gold diamond, comma, which the spell consumes. Because it's to stop you casting, like, incredibly powerful spells over and over again. And also kind of put stuff behind a bit of a paywall, basically.
So do you have a focus worth 1,000 gold pieces?
I don't. Does anyone else?
What can Druids use as a focus?
Let me do a quick Google and find out.
Because if they can use a quarterstaff, I think you can use Summer's new stick. I think.
How much was my Bible?
I can't remember. A lot. Not quite 1,000 though.
How much is my bear claw necklace?
Next to worthless?
Pretty sure it was a unicorn bear.
Prove it.
Well, the spell says that it just needs to be worth up to 1,000 gold pieces. It even gives like
at least 1,000 gold pieces.
yeah. as
such as a crystal ball, a silver mirror, or a
in font-filled holy water. Yeah.
yeah.
So as long as it's 1,000 gold, I could give it a go and then watch everything fail before my eyes.
I mean, you're heading to other places. I'm sure there'll be a merchant there that you could probably buy a
I'll pick
focus
something
from.
up.
But it's up to you.
It's not going to destroy the staff. As far as I'm aware, it just depends if someone wants to hand it over.
Jirax, someone will kill me if I break that stuff.
It won't be broken. It's fine.
I will murder the lot of you.
Can I learn mending? Just in case. I think I can. It's a cantrip. I should be able to learn it. It's fine. It all goes to shit. I will fix it.
Fine. But if you break it, I will kill you. And everyone in this fucking group.
I mean, it's not like you already tried to throw me under the bus, but what can you do?
You're trying to fucking save us both!
If it is broken, I will pay for it since it was my idea.
Alright.
I'll even go through the trouble of getting you a new staff and then giving you some money afterwards as interest.
Good.
Okay, let's try it. What do you want me to roll?
Right, yeah. So I draw a picture of my dad. How good am I as an artist? I don't think so. I think I'm very good. It's been like 10 years since I last saw him. So, you know, it's probably not the most
So
accurate.
if you're drawing a likeness, you can roll a performance, and that apparently gives a -2 to the mod. I don't know how. Yeah, it gives us.
Surely you mean -2 to the DC. Oh wait, no, that's -2 to the
says
modifier
to
of
the
the person who has
modifier,
to like
so,
save
yeah.
against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then this isn't being used. Like,
No.
I don't know. Would he get a save against it? Because he's like,
Depends.
he doesn't know that he's being scried on.
Depends where he is.
I'm hoping that my presence, since blood relative and all that counts as like having a personal effect of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have any of his belongings, so.
So this is either going to go very well or very badly.
So, because this is the very first time you'd be casting scrying without the guidance, you've only recently had guidance to learn it, you'll be at disadvantage on a history. Do me a history check straight, and if you're below the DC to remember, which you'd have advantage because you've got the feat.
So do I have a advantage history check or a straight history check?
An advantage history check to remember the instructions given. Okay, good. So now you can roll your straight Arcana check to see if you are able to pull this off.
15.
Okay.
It's over DC.
Yeah, it is. So you spend a moment to like this scrying, a ritual scrying of this sort of version that you've been shown, and putting in mind that it is like red skies, like cloud, like pillowed across this sort of sunset backdrop that you're in, and the grass is like very dewy around this sort of area that you've decided to camp near, and these things start to sprout out of the ground, and there are 6 of these like flowers, but they're huge bulbs on them. And as they unfurl and open, it almost looks like an imprint of a face. And Goplana, you kind of instinctively feel the urge to place your face into this flower that you've kind of created from this spell. What do the rest of you do?
Well, Summer's doing the training.
Okay.
Should probably roll for that.
Anyone else?
I think I'm just like standing guard, I guess.
Just
I imagine she's quite vulnerable with her head in the dirt.
No worries. So, Goplana, as you place your face into this flower head, the flower wraps around the back of your head, and your vision is rushed through like this green, like vine, like pipeline system, and you find yourself whizzing through this almost tapestry like of pathways, and it brings you to this like dark cavern where you can see rivers or glowing from lava that's spilling out of like walls and cracks in this underground cavern. And you see this individual, this half-orc, that the one as close to the image as you can pinpoint. This would be the person Jirak has asked you to look for. He looks back almost in your direction. For a moment he stops, and you see this much larger green clawed like hand like snarl and push him. And as your vision kind of focuses away, you see that there is like a long line of people, from humans to dwarfs to half-orcs. Some are working and chipping away at stone. Others are being forced towards this huge opal-like gate that looks like this silvery flecks of shadow and smoke, and some of them that look weak seem to be being pushed into this like gate and are taken by this mist. As your focus comes back to Jirak's father, you see he has a limp, and you hear a "Back to work, scum!" And your vision is whipped away back through this tapestry of vine, roots and dirt, as your vision comes back to you in your place. And as you remove your head from this flower, it puffs, and there's like a dust of pollen in the air that seems to settle on the grass around you.
Well, that was weird.
It was a fucking trip.
I can't imagine you saw anything positive.
Nope. So there was like this cavern, and it was dark, and it was lit up by all this lava everywhere, and there are people being kept as slaves.
And my father was one of said slaves.
Yeah, they were like pushing people into like this doorway, which people like just misted it out of there. Like, it was so odd. And like they were throwing what looked like, I don't know. You know when I say like people that can't do the work, the weaker ones, they were pushing in there, and I'm hoping it was your father. He has a limp, so hopefully, maybe if we get there in time.
Well, he was never the strongest individual. He wasn't exactly a warrior. Was there a half-orc woman with him as well? I can't. Like, I'll probably try and describe her, but it's not quite as accurate because I can't say looks like me but with one eye because.
I'm sorry. No, I couldn't see that.
Well, I think you might be right about them splitting up the weak and the strong, because something tells me that my mother would not have been very content just being put to work as a slave. She's where I get my aggression. Well, so DM, backstory, blah blah blah. I worked in a mine for a little while I was in Craghammer. Would I recognize? This is gonna sound stupid, but like, do I know there is a big mine of like with slaves in it somewhere in like the underground or the Underdark or something? Because
it's from
on this plane,
tales from the taverns at Craghammer that there are certain depths that the miners won't go to, or certain areas that the miners won't go to, because they're either unstable or unsafe. There has been tales of slavers that like to force people into work in the darker of areas, but there's never really been any like true pinpoint of their locations. But most certainly around that sort of Craghammer sort of surrounding areas, there have been tales of places very similar. Yes.
Okay, well that's a start. At least you know he's on the same plane as us for the time being. I give Summer her staff back after making sure that it's in one piece. Well, I'm glad that he's alive, although it's a lot to process, considering up until now I was basically denying the fact that they might be alive, or sort of in denial a little bit. But if he's alive, the chances of my mother and my little sister being alive are also, they're better, I guess. But my little sister would only be 10, so I can't imagine she would be much use on a chain gang, essentially. This, you said it was like an opal gate.
Yeah. With
As in, okay.
Shadows.
Does that mean anything to me? I imagine it doesn't. It sounds like a portal to another world, and I'm not exactly the most.
Arcana, possibly. I mean, you probably would only get something from it as it's like probably a nat 20, but you may know.
No, I'm not going to bother rolling, because there's no way that Jarek would actually know anything about anything about that. Right, that's my chores done. I'm going to think on that for a little while before I confront my emotions. Good night, everyone. Or good morning, I guess. we walk through the night.
Okay. So you rest up finally. Okay. Okay. Who's taking first watch, or are you literally just all sleeping?
I'll take first watch.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your perception check for me. Okay. You stand watch. You find yourself a nice sort of fallen tree to perch up on as you stare out over to the rolling hills and watch the sun slowly begin to rise. It's a bit of a chill to the air, and as the sun beams through lights in the tree, there's like a shimmer of like orange flecks around you as the tree's leaves begin to glow from the light. But other than that, doesn't seem to be much going on. And who's next?
I'll take seconds.
Okay, go ahead and roll your perception. Wonderful.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Given the circumstances of your recent interaction with a spell you've never cast before, you kind of get distracted by the possibilities of what this spell could bring. So much so that I need everyone else to make a perception check with disadvantage.
Oh, shit.
I think that sort of implies that Jirak wasn't sleeping anyway. He was just like lying in the back staring at the sky.
No worries. As you sit there, everything seems quiet. The occasional tweet of a bird in a tree calling for its mother and its morning meal. Summer. Your breath feels tight. So much so that you stir in your sleep and you begin to peek through, unfocused, the light, and you feel yourself being crushed slowly. As you look around, you're being pulled away from your bed. You see Jirak and Clarence head away from you. You are grappled
Oh, shit.
and restrained
Oh,
as this-
fuck.
as this huge snake-like form
Oh.
is wrapped around your body. Jirak, as you lay there, your eyes opening and closing, you hear the movement of fabric against some sort of friction, and as you look back, you see Summer, purple by this point over her orange skin. She is being crushed by this giant snake.
Shit fuck balls, I throw an axe at it.
I need you to roll initiative.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh, it's a beast! I get to use my favourite enemy damage. Yay!
Have I got my hit points back?
You haven't had a full rest yet.
Oh fuck! I want to.
Wait, does that mean I don't have mine either?
Nope.
Fuck. Okay.
Oh.
Let me just put that back to what it was.
Oh, wait, if that's the case, oh shit, wait, okay, right, I've got 15 hit points.
I'll keep you in one session.
Actually, do you know what? I won't be that cruel because it's quite intense. So I will say during your travel and the rest that you have had, I will say that you've had a full rest.
Yay.
Because I'm malevolent and I can do that.
Do you mean benevolent?
Benevolent.
Malevolent is quite the opposite.
Maybe I did mean that.
No one will ever know.
So there we go. So firstly, we'll put Summer in here because that's where she is.
That's a big
I'll
fucking
put
snake,
Jack
dude.
over there. I will say
Oh,
for the cases of
yeah.
this, and because he's a bit sort of distracted, he is asleep very heavily, a little bit further away than the rest of you guys. We'll put you up there. There we go. I will say that's probably a surrounded campfire kind of configuration. So. Have you all rolled that? Oh, why?
I
That's
can't
okay.
select my token.
Oh, why?
I can select Kega, but I can't select me.
That's very peculiar. Hold on. Let me see if I can do it that way. Oh, I know why. These are the non-painted ones. That's no good.
Oh, fancy new full colour.
Yep.
Exciting.
Okay. Oh, two we got the same. Oh, very close initiative there. Oh, the snake goes first though. So dragging you away, Summer, and constricting you and trying to crush you, it is going to try and bite at you as it's got hold of you. Does a 20 hit?
Of course it does.
Hold on, let me sort the cards. Cards. What did you get? 12 points. There we go. Fix that. That's 13 points of piercing damage as it looks as it grabs you looking over its meal or its intended meal and bites at the side of your shoulder and torso area.
Brilliant.
Kega.
Kega is going to delay her turn till after mine.
Okay.
And and while I've got this talking stick, would it be possible? Because I can't remember off the top of my head which one of the spellcasting rules we use, because I know in the first campaign of Critical Role, they were allowed to cast up to first level spells and then second level spells as a bonus action, and still cast the spell as their main action. Are we using those ones, or just the nothing but a cantrip if you cast a spell on that turn?
For Kega.
No, for me, just like before because I'm planning my turn at the moment.
Okay.
I've got a great wombo combo.
I would say probably just to keep it simple for now, let's just do no, stuff it. Let's you can do up to first level, I think, is it? Did you say?
Yeah, so it's first level at level 4 and then at level 8. At least that's the way they did it. At level 8 you get second level, but
so let's do that, because that probably suits quite nicely.
Cool. All right. Kega will hold her turn till after mine.
Okay. Goplana.
Was that going for everyone as well, that rule? Or just...
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm the only one who gets the benefit because I'm I'm a first class citizen.
Because you're the first
Half full
person to
privilege.
reach level 7.
yeah.
Oh, I can't. Why can't I move? I can't move my token.
Why?
Yeah.
You've got rights.
I hope so. We are in 2019.
For fuck's sake. I can't do it.
You're all weak, boys.
Let me do edit, remove, yes, remove, select. Okay. Try now.
Nope. Sure, I'll restart roll 20.
It's got to be you.
Yeah. There we go.
D.
Cool. That put me 30. Oh, just about. Okay.
This creature is huge, by the way.
Yep. I'm gonna move to by here and I'm gonna thorn with it.
Okay.
Usual. 16.
A 16 hits.
10 piercing damage.
Nice.
And then I'm gonna rinse and repeat.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
11 as well.
So Goplana comes in, Indiana Jones style, slashes across this huge constrictor snake's form.
And then I'm gonna spend the rest of my movement, which is about 20 foot, backing the hell away.
Yeah, probably best.
About by here.
As it gets attacked by the two whips, it kind of leeches its head back and kind of gives a hiss. Okay. Jirak.
Okay, right. So Jirak is going to use his action to cast Enlarge on Kega, making her large.
Yep.
Use half his movement to climb on Kega's back. And then Kega will use her... Oh, and then bonus action Hunter's Mark the snake. Kega will use their movement to go over here. And then Jirak will action surge and make an attack against it.
Okay.
So it is versus a beast with Hunter's Mark. Yep, spear.
Yep.
So 14 points of
14,
piercing damage. And then Kega is going to use her reaction to make an attack with her bite for 19 points of piercing damage. And then Kega is going to use her turn to claw for 15 points of piercing damage, and then needs to make a strength saving throw.
How do you want to do this?
Beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely fucking beautiful.
Oh man, I've been waiting to do that for so long. Okay, just like a Dothraki screamer from Game of Thrones, just like screaming at the top of his lungs, like action surging, leaping off the back of Kega, stabbing the snake while Kega just being twice the size, well, technically 8 times the size as previously, just mauls this thing to pieces. Preferably into nice thin chunks so we can have snake steak for the rest of the week.
They're riling at this beast that's wrapped itself around Summer. You're within this sort of form as you see Jirak and this like large version of Kega just riling at this snake, slashing with its claws and biting with her jaws. You feel this kind of relaxed muscle kind of slip and drop around you. You're still in its form, it's heavy, but you're able to get out.
For the record, Kega could have attacked one more time, but we'll.
It's only a campment encounter. It's cool.
Oh, man, it felt good. That felt good. Good job, Kega. I high five my cat.
Good job, Thee Brave.
I've actually changed my name on my
I
character sheet
noticed.
too. Yeah.
Oh mate.
Jira goes back to sleep with a massive grin on his face.
Oh, I don't think Puma will be sleeping now.
Actually, no, he probably can't get to sleep. He's buzzing. I'll go on next watch. And by he, I mean me. Oh dear.
I just looked up the word Theb, as in the bee, and it literally says this word means whatever you want it to mean.
Yeah. Theb isn't anything. It means whatever you want it to mean. Oh, it can mean extreme anger. Yeah, that's largely correct.
So, from the snake itself, you are able to obtain some snake meat.
I forgot to add the enlarged damage. That's an extra 2d4 on top of that.
So you get some snake meat. You are able to retrieve some snake skin. You are able to savor a serpent's eye. And within its gullet, there are bones of a recent victim, and from the remains, there is a pouch containing 25 gold coins.
How nice. I divvy up 5 each.
So whoever must have camped here or surrounding the area at some point would have been eaten by this beast along with his gold.
Oh, that's really annoying. I'm 1 gold a round number.
Okay. So, satisfied the beast is dead and that you continue the rest of your rest and regain whatever rest you needed to, you continue on your travels ahead. The daytime once again soon turns into night, the rolling hills passing you by, and you see ahead a glow from torchlight on the road in front. Do you do anything? It's a traveller's
they're
road,
just-
so
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's a normal thing to see
sure.
see other people.
As you carry on along the same pathway, a group of travellers head in your direction, in the direction that they would be heading towards Western. They pass you and a series of carts, fancy, 2 solo horse riders at the front and one at the back of a carriage. This carriage has a sigil on the side, a wolf's head howling, and the Dwendolian Wildmount colours. Through the cart you see a small window open, and you see an individual inside, a bald, dark-skinned human male holding a book with an extravagant bookmark hanging from it, flailing in the breeze as he passes. As soon as he passes by you, the wind catches the bookmark and it flies, blowing out from the window and touching ground by you, Gotplana, on the floor.
I'll dismount and grab it,
Sure.
and then I'm gonna go and. Can I first inspect it and see what it's like?
Of course you can. So, as you look at the bookmark, you read, "Fair Brooks, fair books. Good books, good prices." The cart stops and the individual inside steps out. I need you all to make a charisma saving throw.
Oh, shit.
Time to knock Jarek down a peg.
I hope no one succeeds. Yes. So this individual steps out, and you are all, including the males, are taken back by
God damn it.
how handsome this gentleman is. Very fine garbs, but not pompous, not kind of overwhelming, but very well dressed, smart, very well fitted. He looks distinguished, but somewhat he looks very encapsulating. You're in awe just by how he looks. He's dark-skinned, balding. He has brilliant he's just divine to look at in any caption of the sense. He looks at you all and says, "I believe that belongs to me. My apologies, but I get so encapsulated by a good book. Much," and he begins to look at you, Gotplana, "much like a lady with enchanting grey eyes."
Hey.
And he reaches
Get
out
in.
and he's like, instantly he's like, "My name is Lucius. I would say I'm sorry to delay you, but it's been a long road. Perhaps as a goodwill gesture I could offer company during the night in a warm place to rest, if that appeals to you all and your friends." Maybe we could talk of tales of our travels before morning. And he kind of goes over to his car, and as he touches the door on the car, it kind of shimmers and glows, and he opens it, and you see inside not the cart interior, but a home.
Yo.
Who the fuck is this dude?
We're staying, right? I mean, we need to stay. Yes, please.
There's less chance of us being ambushed by giant snakes, but fine, whatever.
Yeah, let's go.
Consider the Lorelei home your own.
The what now?
Apologies, let me introduce myself formally. I am Lucius Lorelei, family of the Wildmount Keep. I've come a long way to get here. Please, tell me about yourselves. What brings you on the road towards Stilburn?
We're just traveling. We were just at Western, so we're merchants for hire, so we mercenaries for hire even. So we're just at the place.
Heroes for hire.
Oh, wonderful. Do you happen to have details of your group of mercenaries?
What kind of details are you looking for?
A name, perhaps. I may require future help. It would be nice to put a name to such an enchanting group. And he's still kind of like looking in your direction, Goplana.
Out of character, guys. What are we calling ourselves nowadays?
It's either Dream Team or Heroes for Hire.
Those are both a bit.
Okay, right. We'll come up with a serious one that we all like.
Wait, what's up? Where's our list?
Oh fuck! I found it earlier. I was scrolling through the chat.
If I can weigh in, I really like the Thames.
Okay, yeah. Temporary solutions to your permanent problems.
I quite like that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The temp agency.
It's like I myself are in travels to head towards Western. Tell me, is the city as grand as they speak of?
Oh, it's definitely something.
Stay away from the churches.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I myself, what you may call a bit of a cleric. So, if you're saying that perhaps the temples are not as enchanting as the books tell, that's a little disappointing. But
No.
Well, they're not enchanting, but they've had a string of bad luck of late.
perhaps I will be able to at least put some venture into helping them reform, if you're saying they're in disrepair. Apologies, I must say, if your travels have brought you what seems to be quite a way. I myself are in a bit of a hunt, so to speak. I've come quite a long way from home, across the oceans, to get here, to Tal'Dorei. It was a while ago. I and my family returned home to find that some people were trying to steal items and relics from our home. And, Upon doing so, we were able to scare off some of these bandits, but there was a bit of a scuffle, and we thought that was the end of it, but it turns out that a few villages down the way there was rumors of attacks, and so it would seem that the encounter between us and these bandits caused a bit of a stir.
Whereabouts was this, if you don't mind me asking?
This is at Wildmount.
Nothing for us to be investigating then. Don't think we could book passage across the sea.
Well, the rumors were that these bandits managed to cotton sail onto a boat towards Tal'Dorei. Last
So
I
you
heard, they was with a
chasing after
travelling
them?
circus.
Ah. Yeah.
Well, there hasn't been a travelling circus in Western, but I'd say maybe chat to some people in the surrounding villages. You know, Joran, that kind of thing. Maybe they know a bit of information.
Seems
Maybe.
like this news doesn't shock you. Is it something you've come across?
What, travelling circuses? I've heard of them before, but there hasn't been one in Western.
This Joran, is it close by Western at all?
I tell him how far away it is.
Mhm.
I don't know how far it is.
And,
It's the way you're going, I think. Ish.
They had a travelling circus when we were there. It was very entertaining until 90% of the crowd then turned into... Well, I shouldn't bore you with the details.
No, please. Carry on, and don't forget you are still all charmed by this gentleman.
Well, it turned out a lot of the audience members are actually werewolves. Decided to turn halfway through the show, murdered a lot of the visitors. Some of them managed to escape. Did kill quite a few.
Ah. Well, and he kind of sits quite neatly into his chair and he's like, it seems that perhaps I haven't been as forthcoming as I could have been. Truth be told, that it sounds like you have already encountered these bandits that raided our home. Something you may not know about the Lorelei family is that it's no secret, but our family is akin to the lycanthrope curse, some may call it. My brothers and sisters and I have undergone something called... I cannot now, my mind's gone blank. Shit. Fucking I forgot the word. The taming. This is a long and tireless ritual that many of our youths of our family go through in order to control the werewolf urge, the bloodlust.
Well, I can tell you now that these wolves, werewolves, are most tamed.
Yes, I've heard the rumours leading to here. I'm hoping to at least find them, put an end to them. Please tell me that no one other than the deceased were any minor injuries that I may need to know about or be concerned about.
Oh, well, I do believe he was the captain of the guard, was bitten.
Captain Gormax, yes.
Yes,
Lovely
that
guy.
one. Brilliant guy.
put himself in prison to protect his town, which I think is
Absolutely
indicative of how much of
admirable.
a yes.
He's a
Yes.
good guy. Very good guy.
Very nice guy. Durac is trying his very best to hide the fact that he has coated his spear in silver. So it's actually killing werewolves.
I mean, you're doing this, but you would probably notice that there is a silver handled with a very, very, very thick black leather roping around this blade by his side.
Also, some did get away, so
Mm.
there might still be some roaming around the countryside in the Bramblewoods. It might be worth a look.
Yeah, we didn't quite get them all, fortunately.
Well, given the reputation of these bandits and what we've told about tales that they like to go to small encampments and try and build up a repertoire of followers and then try to hit small villages or very small towns. That may be the best way to look. If you're saying that the Juran was hit and someone escaped, then maybe I should look more towards Whitestone
This
and the
was-
surrounding areas there.
It was a good few weeks ago now.
Indeed. Well, thank you for saving my bookmark. Sorry, I didn't catch your names.
Durac Longclaw, Theb Rave. I'm embracing it now. I'm embracing it.
I'm Summer the Fierce.
She winks.
He kind of goes. You can see his eyes like raise up, and he's like impressed. And you, small friend, your name?
I'm Clarence the Kind. And I wink too.
Good plan of Fairbrook. Nice to meet you.
The pleasure's all mine. It's such a wonderful meet cute that we have met in this fashion. You have information I desire.
So he's probably been to the bookstore before. Do I recognise him from years ago, maybe?
No, and your recollection of the bookstore, the wording's the same, like the text is the same, but the way that this bookmark is embossed and has the embellishment of design, it's definitely evolved in its fashion.
Somebody's stealing the brand, fam.
Someone's alive.
Or that.
And
Also,
kind
good
of-
job on leaving out your title of the generous, because I don't know how well that would go down.
Not with this guy. So Sanika's of his deity that he follows. So thank you. I haven't actually appraised your saving of my bookmark. It's quite a tale behind it.
Please do tell.
Well, if you must know, when I docked at Stilburn and had a roam around its town, I came across a travelling book merchant. I hastily purchased something to keep me occupied in my travels. The merchant stated that he'd been on quite a trip. He was awaiting the ship to bound for Imon before continuing its journey to Wildmount. The halfling merchant went on by the name of Hampson, something along them lines. He spoke about him and how him and his sister Primrose was hoping to expand their bookstore throughout the lands and monopolize Tal'Dorei. Although they said about a small collection that they only had, they hoped their brother will be returning with some rare editions of books. But they, if I recall, sadly, they hadn't heard from him in months. They hope to grow this business and reached out as a traveling bookstore to earn coin as they go. I myself decided to invest in their venture, and I gave around 100 platinum. I'm to check in on my investment before I return home.
We are seeking investors. We're a publicly
Right.
traded company.
And you said that they were going to Iman, right?
I believe the business is based in Iman. I think they were growing it from there. But that will be where I will travel to once my business here has been conducted.
Okay. And do you know how long they were going to be staying in Stillburn for?
I would imagine they'd be left by now. He was waiting for the ship to board and then travel to Stillburn before it continues its journey towards Wildmount. But Goplana, I apologize. You seem shook by this news. Are you okay?
No,
Is it something I said?
No. It's good news. Good news. I do like a book. Anyway, tell us about your travels. We obviously.
Other than traveling from town to town and following and hunting this raging team of bandits and finding out that they hijacked a traveling circus, there's not really much more to tell. I mean, we've had many tales in the past, but I'm sure that would only bore you. You seem very close to nature, Goplana. It's quite strange. As I said, this meet cute has been very well. Let's just say the book. It perhaps would do you more joy than me. There's much in the book about druid magic that I don't understand, and some of which is still very interesting. Please, it's yours, if you so wish. And he kind of passes it over in your direction.
I would love that. Thank you.
Well, it's late. There are rooms just leading down the corridor there. If you open a door, it will be to suit, I assure you. And he kind of leers off into another door and opens up, and you see a glorious four-poster bed, rich kind of elaborate posters at each four corners, a purple velveteen kind of looking quilt, and these very big pillows, and the smell of vanilla and kind of caramel kind of seep from the doorway. And he kind of goes in, and like he doesn't shut the door, he kind of just looks back, goes around the corner a bit, comes back, and he's completely starkers, and he just gets into bed and he gets comfortable to sleep. There's no suggestion, the door is just open.
Lana, might I recommend not doing that? I don't know if lycanthropy is sexually transmitted. And we just got over your last bout of being possessed by an evil energy. I don't know if we want to go through that again.
I'm good, thanks.
We leave for 3 days. We come back, say to the Margrave, "Hi, yeah, sorry, got cursed again."
Oh god.
So, Goplano, you have a druid book, and it has obviously a connection with your past. And as you took it into your hands, you feel the warmth of the magic from within. This is your milestone. Welcome to level 7.
Is that level 4 spells now?
I think it might be.
Ooh, exciting! You can cast haste, and if you cast haste on me, I get another attack, and I get to do even more bullshit amounts of damage.
Okay. So, anything you wish to do before you rest?
Do some more cat training.
Okay, mark it off on your sheet.
How many times do I have to do one?
You've now got 5 now, haven't you?
Yeah.
Good to know.
I'm going to enlarge Clarence, like when he's not looking, and just see how long it takes for him to notice. Like he like
While
headbutts a
you're
door frame or
asleep.
something. So he wakes. It's like big. He like wakes up and nothing fits him anymore.
Okay. Oh, what is going on there? So I'm just trying to do something quickly before carry on. Just so you are aware, there is in all your rooms, as you open the door, the colours and the design, the general design of each room is as you would have wanted if someone had read your mind. Apart from, there is in each and every single room, there is a holy symbol above each bed. And if you want to know what symbol it is, you can do a religion check.
A what check?
A religion check.
A religion.
Yeah, Summer and Goplano, you would both know that it is the symbol of the Moon Weaver.
Of the what?
Moon Weaver.
Uh-huh.
Patron saint of secret trysts and love affairs.
Mm-hmm.
That was my mark, isn't it? That's illegal in what, man?
The Moonweaver, oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, pretty much frowned upon just about everywhere, but there's probably
you
some
can-
other stuff that she's in charge of as well, but
you may
not
get
nearly as exciting.
the idea of why he's so charismatic now. So, as the night passes and day comes, you are all awakened by the smell of cooked meats in the air. So bacon, sausages, there is bread and everything laid out. And as you get yourself a breakfast ready for the day ahead, Lucius says, "It's a shame we didn't have more time. And if it's any consolation and you do make it back to Juran, please give this to your friend. I hope there is still time. And he passes you a like a vial, potion glass vial that's silver liquid that seems to have motion of its own, and on the cap is a silvered wolf's head. And he says, if this doesn't do the trick and you're too late, then give him this. And he gives you another one, almost identical, but this one is black liquid with a black wolf's head.
Is it a put him out of his misery style potion, or
Are you
would it
asking
actually help?
him?
Yeah.
This would allow him to control the lycanthropy curse momentarily and long enough for him to make his way to Wildmount at Castle Laurel, where we can attempt to put him under the taming in hope it will be successful. But I wouldn't recommend giving it to anyone. It is essentially the purest of lycanthropy curses.
So if you were to drink this, you would become a werewolf, like double werewolf, basically.
You'd be a werewolf without having to worry about a full moon for kind of now, and you would probably have control of yourself for about a month, but then you're fucked.
Okay, right.
And he says that with a grin.
Good to know.
I don't think my travels will take me to Joran. I think I may even bypass Western. If I can head towards Whitestone and the surrounding towns and villages there, perhaps I may come across this bandit group, find out if they have a stronghold nearby, and just put an end to this disaster that has been caused. I wish you all good luck. Sincerely.
Is there a like fantasy equivalent of giving someone your number? Like, I know sending works, right? But I don't know if there's like you give someone a special coin with your name on it, over like, oh,
And
sending us anytime sort of
if
thing.
you had something with that belongs to you or is like special to you, then you know that there are many magics to help locate or contact or find out where you are, or there are plenty of magics in the land that would enable someone to contact you.
I get a bit of like Kegger's loose fur, like scrape it up, and then make a little like wax seal on one end, so it's not all just a bag, like a handful of hair. And like I explained to him, if you ever want to scry on us or whatever, here's this. And then if you end up finding these bandits and want some help with dealing with them, because I'm assuming you won't be able to do it, one man v however many, then
I think
be glad to help.
I hope that it's not needed, and I hope that if we are to meet again, it would be under a much better and more comfortable environment. Perhaps you can tell me of other adventures you may incur the next time we meet. And I hope you, Kaplana, you find whatever it is you're looking for.
Thank you. You too.
And he kind of nods, and then as he leaves the sort of home state and you guys all kind of leave this kind of building that elaborated out of nowhere, essentially, he closes the door once again and opens it to the inside of the cart. He sits in, pulls the door, taps the roof, and begins his journey into the distance. It's now morning, guys. You have a whole day's travel ahead. And as you begin your travels, there's a breeze in the air, enough that you're having to either tie your hair back or push it off of your face in a regular fashion. It's a little bit windy, it's breezy, not blistery. But autumn is certainly upon you. As your travel, you come by the hills begin to crest over more and more. I need you all to roll a perception check for me, please.
Shit. Just close roll 20.
That's okay.
I have a +6 if someone wants to roll it for me while it loads back up.
I think we're
Okay.
good. The most of you are good. So as you crest over some of these hills, you see the open expanse of the road ahead, and there are many hills and many mounds of this surrounding area. The path begins to become uneven and awkward to negotiate. The route ahead is difficult and you stumble upwards. Your horse's hooves kind of catch and slip. I need Summer, as you have the higher perception. You see something off the side of the road. It looks like almost like a fence, like a piece of picket fence, like a stump. It's old, worn, and chewed up a bit, but compared to the surrounding areas, this is kind of like there's no reason for this to be here. And you see something attached to it, around it.
Am I close enough to make out what it is?
You'd have to get off your horse.
I will get off my horse.
Okay. So, as you grab hold of this stump and this kind of whatever it is attached to it is aged and weathered beyond any time you can kind of establish from it, and you kind of pull at it, and it seems to be embedded into like the floor slightly. It's almost like the growth of this mossy mound has kind of grown over whatever it is, and it's a rope, an old rope. It's coiled up, and you begin to pull, and it seems to trace off around the side of this difficult mound, and it kind of drives the path into a different direction.
I'm gonna start following it.
Okay. as you kind of follow this rope and you're pulling it and you're kind of revealing its direction more and more, your footing slips and the route becomes trickier. You, along with anyone else that seems to be following you, please roll a dexterity check. Dexterity save.
Do I get a bonus to this from the
Fuckity do.
I've got a ranger thing that is something to do with difficult terrain. I can't remember off the top of my head, but
You, me both, mate.
Because you got favoured terrain.
it's not. I think it's not favored terrain because they got rid of favored terrain, but it's like the equivalent of that. Like
Okay.
I think I ignore difficult terrain. We can move stealthily twice as fast or something.
Even though it's difficult, it's not. It's tricky to negotiate. It's not currently difficult terrain. However, those of you that failed, Summer, natural explorer.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Okay, well you can do a dexterity save with advantage. Yes. Okay, good. So yeah, Clarence, Summer, and Goplana, you all slip and fall prone to this rope. You all take 5 points of bludgeoning damage as you hit the ground. And you are all prone. And this now would be classed as difficult terrain, so half movement. But it's irrelevant really, given the narrative. The rope seems to continue around the hills onto one of the higher sort of elevated hills, and you pull and pull, and you find yourself on a the stake ends onto another wooded stake, so the rope takes you to another end, but it's planted into the ground, and you see a series, and I'll bring it to you. Hold on. You see a series of monolithic henge-looking stones, an ancient circle or ruined stones. As you begin to move into as you begin to move closer, you see something with a series of like prongs coming out of the center of this ground. Is there anything you'd like to do?
I want to towards whatever this thing is.
Sorry, what thing?
This thing.
Yep. So the thing that's in the center. Is everyone else joining you?
Yeah, why not?
I follow.
Okay. As you begin to move into the circle, the sun above seems to dip behind the clouds simultaneously, and the ground begins to rumble and shake. Then it eases off. As it eases off, you almost hear this hum come from this stone-like. It's almost like a floating stone, but it has almost like grips. There are maybe 5, 6 of these grips around it that seem like they're some sort of either holding it in place or enabling it to be moved. It's hard to tell. But there's a very slight rumble, like tremble, but it kind of eases and moves ever slightly. While you're there, Summer, what would you like to do? You may be muted. Hello? Hello?
Can I touch it?
You can touch it, yeah.
It's not gonna
You wanna
like
touch
kill me or anything.
Yeah, well, it's hard to tell.
Well, I'm gonna touch it anyway.
About to find out.
So you just touch the stone, or are you grabbing one of these like grip type pieces?
I'm just sort of gonna like, I don't know, like run my hand across it.
You hear a. It's embedded into the ground.
I'm gonna try and lift it up.
You go to pull it.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead and roll me a strength check.
Oh.
Okay. You grab it, you go to yank it, and it doesn't seem to budge, but it does go as you hold it, and you're not like stuck to it, but your hand is rigid, and you kind of like pull your grip away, but it's almost like you're magnetized to it, but you're not strong enough to pull it out of the ground. But there are like 3 of these other handles that kind of look like the one you grabbed.
Do you guys want to give us a hand? There's one for each of you.
Can't hurt. Well, it can, but worth a go.
So all of you need to do your strength check.
I've got so many fucking tabs open. Right, one sec. There we go. Strength.
Ugh.
Oh, you were lucky that you were lucky Jirak did. So as you all grab it, the stone kind of goes. And your hands are now like gripped around, and as you begin to pull, you see the dirt around the embedded part of this like crystallite type thing that you've just grabbed begin to like come away. And as you pull this thing out the ground, everything kind of follows and relapses. All the dirt is falling inwards rather than outwards. The surrounding area is all falling inwards. I need you all to make dexterity saving throws. This is falling.
You know when I said it.
This is falling.
Bye, guys.
You know when I said it couldn't hurt.
I would like to use a reaction as well to slow fall.
Okay.
Fuck this shit, man.
Holy shit.
Oh.
It's a fucking Stargate like.
It's like God of War.
Let me do all this. This. Oh, also, by the way, Summer, I forgot to mention, but your Eben, Eben actually appears to be a bit bigger than he was last time. And he's kind of like now quite he doesn't seem to wander off as much as he did before.
Yes.
So all your dex saves, 1, 2, 3. You are lucky. Oh, Lano, you are not. Take 7 points of bludgeoning damage as you fall with the ground and the soil around you.
Sure.
You find yourselves in a chamber surrounded by 4 very large pillars and a crystal form in the center of this room. Along the back wall there is a huge ice-like crystal. You can feel the cold swelling from this crystal, and there are 2 really heavy, like bronzed-looking chains that go into the ground from these big Titan stones along the back wall. And as you stand up from the fall and you're kind of looking around the area, you hear a and that's where we're going to end tonight.
That's not good. That's very not good.